Hey, everybody. Welcome to Unpoetry. Thanks so much for being here. Yeah, cool. This mic is ornamental. It's only so the people on the live stream can hear, not bragging about a live stream. That's stupid. Dumb joke right out the gate. Welcome to the first Unpoetry of 2026. I'm happy to have y'all here. This is going to be kind of the ending of the, I guess of my/Unpoetry's residency here at Jack Straw. I'm sure we'll find another show here eventually, but for now, this kind of be the big ending culmination. What to talk about? Things at the top. Next month is going to be 4 years of doing Unpoetry. At least. We have done 1 to 4 shows a month since 2022, barring a weird flooded underbelly bar. So we missed like 1 month or 2. I've called in a couple of guest hosts, but for the most part, the shows have run consistently 1 to 4 times a month. 4 is bad. Like 4, we realize is the limit of like things that it makes my. And on that note, the last time we were here for the Jack Straw shows, we did 1 show a week through June. And that was to support Till the Teeth's We Being So exhibit. We had almost 30 artists in 3 weeks, which I feel is a pretty cool number. We had poets in the hallway. We had dancers in the not hallway. What is that called? A foyer? Am I allowed to say a foyer? There we go. So yeah, it's being here at Jack Straw really means something to me. I know that culturally and locally, they are like a big deal. They're assigned to me of like an artist who like, you know, not who's made it, but I mean, it's a thing you get here, and it's a big deal. So to be here and to have so many people here so many times, and to have so many amazing artists run through here, and people who I don't think I would ever see at Jack Straw come through here is like really important to me. And in keeping with this, like we've been doing it for 4 years. We've been here at Jack Straw. We're at the Fry for our new season starts in March. So we've been at the Fry Art Museum for 3 years now. That's pretty cool. I don't know why this has become a victory lap. It went better in my head. Let's just move on. I guess I'm just happy. Fuck it. I'm starting off today. How do we ground that? I've also, not to do too much fucking business. What's going on, dude? Poetry is sold out. That's the theme. And poetry is sold out. 2026, fuck it. That's what we're going with. Oh, I don't know if the live stream is all ages, but too late now. We're letting them fly. And so on Poetry this year, I'm trying to start a membership through Patreon and Ko-fi. The idea with the membership is if you wanted to, you can submit anywhere from $1 to $10 a month. And that membership kind of goes to funding Unpoetry. I've learned through my grant with For Culture that to run Unpoetry and to pay everybody, it takes about $10.5K a year. And that is a feasible number if everyone gives $1 to $5 a month, right? Like if we tackle it in small chunks through a bunch of people, drinking nitro coffee was a dumb idea. That was stupid. The amount of words I'm saying, the posture that I want to have right now in front of my friends and very talented fucking people, oh, this was an asinine decision. So I'm glad we're here, and now I'm stalling because I'm nervous, but, oh yeah, membership if you want, there's a QR code over there if you want. What a sales pitch, if you want, you know. But thanks for being here. We're gonna have oh yeah, there's some business. So Hannah needs a fuck ton of room. So if anybody sat in front of the chairs, if you could please move behind the chairs, that would be great. And then I know it's really tight. After Hannah performs, we will open up the space and it will be a little less cozy. But for now, we're going into deep basement garage punk vibes. So please be kind to each other and comfortable, but I understand it's not going to be comfortable for at least 10 to 15 minutes. I didn't time this. So maybe I'll talk later. I feel like I've been talking more than I usually should, and that's probably thanks to Nitro Coffee. Shout out Olympia Coffee. There you go. Yeah, sponsored. That's what I need is cases of Olympia Nitro Brew. Okay, cool. So that's enough. Thanks for being here. Let's start Unpoetry 2026.
depending on how you spin it. Some say it's all downhill from here. God forbid! But between the both of us, and in the making of
you want to start coming closer now, we're just going to have like, some visuals on stage and then some people around here. So orient yourselves comfortably around that. Give us like maybe 5 minutes to figure out how this works. Thank you. Oh,
Your time is up.
Do I gotta be a little bit? Wow, there we go. Now we can hear me. My name's Fern. I am a film photographer for fun.
classes at the PCNW. Shout out. Just to preface it a little bit, it entails 2 different settings of photos. One being a party in my house with my friends, and the other being a protest at Cal Anderson on May 24th, 2025. If anybody knows what happened then, you might understand what this might have to do with these photos, I guess. But if you don't, on that day there was a concert put on by a very religious and anti-trans and queer community who invaded Capitol Hill and Cal Anderson. And of course there's going to be a protest against it. So I was lucky enough to be able to be there and document it. But essentially what I want to present is the need for queer space, the fight for queer space, and just overall the necessity and the power and love that can come from it. So, enjoy.
I may know 6 people, but that's enough. Love has never been a popular movement, and no one's ever wanted really to be free. The world is held together, really it is held together, by the love and the passion of very few people. Otherwise, of course, you can despair. Walk down the street of any city, any afternoon, and look around you. What you gotta remember is what you're looking at is also you. Everyone you're looking at is also you. You could be that person. You could be that monster. You could be that cop. And you're to decide in yourself not to.
You can have the computer. I just need to stand here. I'm not quite that senile yet, Eric, to steal in front, not quite broad daylight, but steal in front of all your friends. Oh, in that case, let's rethink it. I'm so happy to be back. Thank you, Eric, so much, and to be with dancers and photographer, artists, politicos, and all of you guys. It's just great to be here. Of course, I haven't been here for a long time. So I'm a writer and a retired teacher, and I'm very happy actually about both of those things. But I'm still in the buzz of like, I don't have to teach anymore. Anyway, I had a couple of books come out this year, which I say nonchalantly, but it was really, for me, it was a big deal. Two sounds like a lot, but one of them just like took forever. And then this other one, the fellow who brought it out used to be my editor, The Stranger, and he started a publishing house, and he said, I want you to write, and I said, great, I'll give you a manuscript. He said, no, I want you to write a book about animals I can give to my mother. Because a lot of my work is about death and darkness and homophobia and rage and just death and whatever. And so this is, here I am at 70, the first book I've written that I feel like, I can give this to people. And so, hi, do you want my book? Anyway, so it's called My Animal Kingdom, and there is an arc in it. I mean, because like you read it from the beginning, I want people to read it from the beginning to the end because there is an overarching story. But every chapter is about a different like animal encounter. And you know what? Actually, I'm going to change up a little bit because when you were talking about queer space and everything, that was a big deal for me, like back in 1982. Anyway, so I'm gonna. The first one I'm gonna read is just part of a essay I wrote called "Monster." It's not quite an animal, but I guess it's about being a little kid growing up in the 70s in Texas and knowing you're different, but kind of like, what? So, I love monster movies. Oh, and I'm going to read two pieces, part of this essay and then a complete other little short one. I loved monster movies when I was a kid, and sometimes I still do. The old corny ones more than the new ones. Frankenstein, Wolfman, Dracula, Creature from the Black Lagoon. The little boys I ran around with, most girls didn't like monster movies, and I loved, especially, Lon Chaney and Boris Karloff. We even loved saying their names. I remember how the Creature from the Black Lagoon, how he had that weird fish mouth, like he was always trying to say something, but he couldn't, or trying to breathe or suck, but he couldn't do that either. His eyes were too high on his head and wide open, like he was frightened of us, of himself, of what he might do with his creepy body, or just surprised, like, why me? Is this really me? He looked like any minute he could drown, even though he lived in water. He also couldn't be out of water for long. There wasn't any place where he could always be. Something had happened to him wrong, and things weren't right with him. Some of us partly knew some of this, but also there were other things we didn't know and didn't want to. The creature from the Black Lagoon had finny hands and scaly legs and bony webbed feet and a big, wide, gaping, open, toothless, wanting mouth. He looked pathetic. For a while there was a girl in class who had skin between her toes. As soon as we heard she did, we made her show us. It looked like webs. Another girl screamed and made a face when she saw the feet. The girl with the feet wasn't in school very long with us. I think her family moved around a lot. I also remember Frankenstein's creature, how he lurched around and cried like someone who lived in our neighborhood but whom we never saw. I only knew about this neighbor because sometimes I heard him crying. It was a sad, wide whine, not crying like tears, but crying like moaning, like sounds from someone who couldn't say what he needed to. It sounded like a child, except it sounded like a man. And then, when I saw the movie, like Frankenstein's creature. Dr. Frankenstein's creature lifted his hands toward the light. His sleeves were too short, so you could see his skinny, bony wrists. His hands were shaky and pasty white. He looked pathetic too. So that's the start of Monster. I'm going to read from early in the book now. The book starts off telling the story of a baby squirrel that I adopted that my cat brought in. And then I raised this little squirrel before and then let her go back out to the world. And that essay appeared in The Stranger, which I think gave Christopher, the guy who started this new press, the idea of like, Rebecca, write more of those. So this is a piece called Goose. Before I get that, I'm so proud of this book. I really love it. I love the yellow cover, and the design is really cool. Like every chapter has this totally black, and then every chapter has an illustration by Levi Hastings. He's an amazing artist. The designer is Corey Anton Hale, who's also the designer of this ranger. But like, I read this book and I sent it in, and everything was really rush. And then Levi, this amazing artist, had like 3 weeks to do these paintings, and they're like, oh my God, I just love these paintings. Like here's one of a turtle. You can't see this, but I'm just like tempting you. Anyway, so Reed and I were talking about privately made, handmade books, and just how much the physical object of the book is something that we want to embrace, and that if you have words, but also you have something you want to hold for a long time and look at and touch, and the fact that this particular book, I'm proud of it physically, but also it was made by people that knew one another. It was a real joy to work with these folks. Anyway, so here's the one called Goose. My friend John and I were biking back from the wetland trail and turned onto the road where the cars go. A few hundred feet past the stop sign, we saw a goose. It was wobbling in the middle of the road and looked like there was part of a car tire around it. When we got closer, we saw it was a broken wing. We slowed down as we got near the goose. I got off my bike and set it on the grass by the road and went toward the goose. I tried to move fast enough to catch it, but not so fast to frighten it more. John got off his bike too and waved away the cars coming in behind us. A car went around us, then stopped. A woman got out of the car and started toward us. The goose turned away from where the woman was coming and back to me, and I swept toward the goose and got my arms around it and held it as firmly as I could, but also gently. My arms went around its big, breathing middle, and I pulled it against my chest. I felt its feet move, and it twisting and breathing very fast and going, "It's okay, honey," I said, "it's okay." The goose twisted its neck, and I saw its eyes and eyelids moving very fast. "It's okay, baby," I said to it, "it's okay." The woman who'd gotten out of the car was shouting that there was some place to take wounded animals. John was still directing cars away from everything. The woman was getting her cell phone out. I carried the goose off the road toward some grass and trees. I knelt down by the tree, then sat on the ground with the goose in my arms and kept saying quietly, "It's okay, honey, it's okay." I leaned against the tree and held the goose. The goose fluttered and made cack and hissing noises, and I kept saying, "It's okay, it's okay." And after a while, the goose leaned back on me and wasn't hissing, and I could feel its heart. I could feel its soft feathers, the hard spine in the middle of the big ones. I could also see the very tiny feathers, small feathers, as small as a grain of sand around its eyes and at the base of its bill and mouth. I saw the orange and yellow stripes in its bill and felt its breath, small little puffs, against me. I looked in its eye right next to me, and I believe it looked at me. It had been holding its head and neck up stiffly or shaking, but then it lay its neck down on my arm and rested. I could feel its breathing slowing, and its heartbeat slowing too. I didn't think it was dying. I thought it was calming down. After a while, another car drove up, and the woman who'd called the place that took care of animals went up to the car and got out a blanket. She had phoned her husband, and he brought the blanket so we could put the bird in it, and they could drive to the animal rescue place. The woman brought the blanket over to us, and we put it over the goose in my arms, and we walked to the car and put the goose in. The woman got in the back seat of the car with the goose, and she and her husband drove off with the goose. I don't know what happened when they got there, but I'm glad we all tried to help it. Sometimes I tried to feel again how it lay its body against me. And there. Thanks, folks. writers program together. So I was the first curator and the designer of the program. And designed it so that you didn't have to make a statement of what you were going to do, and so that there was only one curator, so it wasn't a committee. It was just like, so, anyway, so to get away with a lot of the garbage. Anyway.
And also, has anyone seen Lauren Rodriguez?
Hi.
Hey, Lauren. Okay, so we got to do a little bit of setup. If I could just have the rest of the musicians start bringing their stuff maybe over here. And for the audience, we're going to be a few minutes until we figure out what that means. And then plugging things in and get everything together. So I guess it's a brief intermission. We're calling this an intermission. Intermission! Nice. Smoke a bit from the bottom? That's what you need to say. Up next we have Lauren Rodriguez, everybody. Oh, and if you need these, I have them because they were in the back of the room. I don't really know how to distribute them. So,
Yeah, no worries.
I think it'll be fine. It's more just, yeah, I think it's going to be chill. I just, yeah. I think it'll be fine.
I do no photography. I try and do mostly in-camera manipulation. I do a lot of chemical experiments with the film, which creates different colors. I use like different spirals and develop it with different chemistries myself. So everything that I'll have playing here are years of work. Is that what they're going? Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna pause this while I figure out why it's not going through the app. Sorry. Laura, do you want some help? Do you know?
You got it.
You know something I don't?
now. Big speech now, I guess, is I'm really grateful for all the performers who are here. Like, actually, I know that everyone is kind of like big in their own social scenes and cultural scenes and musical scenes, and it's like, it's not lost on me that it is an honor to hold space and have everyone here. And it's an honor, and it's like a privilege, and it's a thing that I try my hardest to do. And thank you all for being here. And I guess that's the big speech. So, you know, love each other. I love you. Thanks for being here. Love you, Eric. Up next is a little video, and this is Kole Galbraith, everybody.
these people together and bring everybody here and stuff. Throughout all the performances and stuff, I just, it's easy to, no matter how you spin it, downhill from here. Which is like, and it's important, like what we talked about of caring for each other and having space for each other and stuff. So, it's good that we're all here and creating identities together. Thanks to Eric for asking me to do this and inviting us all here and stuff. So, thank you so much.